This is the text-to-speech podfic for Tied Up in Knots by Aqua Myosotis. There he is. How are you doing, baby? Remus huffed a little and rocked his head from side to side, pressing further into the dip just below Sirius's collarbone. Sirius laughed, continuing to run his fingers through Remus's sweaty mess of hair and then trailing them down his back. Was that good, huh? You haven't blacked out on my knot for a while. I think that's your lot though, I'm not sure your body can take another round. Shut up, yes it can. Remus tried to bite him but the pressure was barely there. He was too exhausted. Sirius laughed, a low chuckle. Poor baby. He hooked a large palm under Remus's chin and coaxed his face upwards. Come on, we need to get you some water. We don't need to do anything. Remus pouted, refusing to cooperate as Sirius attempted to move. You need to get me some water. He shifted his hips feebly, a small whine slipping out as the push of Sirius's knot made sparks crackle up his spine. And then you need to fuck me again. Baby, your heat's done. I don't think that's a good idea. Come on, sit up a bit for me. I'm all sticky. And whose fault is that? Sirius sighed as he realized Remus was going to be no help. He started to push himself up slowly, helping Remus secure his arms around his neck and rolling his eyes at the pathetic whimper he let out. Oh shush, you know you don't like being knotted on top. I told you not to. Sirius gripped his hips to try and lessen the pressure as he grabbed a pillow and shoved it behind him. Almost there. Just let me. He carefully maneuvered Remus's legs so they were loosely wrapped around his waist. I had to get on top, Remus said petulantly, although there was a definite undercurrent of mischief there. How else was I supposed to get off? You were just slamming into me like a brute. Ha! Sirius looked at him in disbelief. Well, this brute must have imagined the 2 orgasms he gave you before you started begging for my knot. Yes, well maybe I was thinking about someone else. Remus bit his lip as Sirius's fingers tightened their hold on his thighs. A low growl escaped from the back of his throat and simmered in the air. Remus. He said warningly. Don't push me. I saw Caradoc the other day, you know. Remus continued, pushing down to the urge to bare his neck at the alpha-coded growl. Did you know he's divorced now? He asked for my number, suggested we could get a coffee at some point and catch up. Remus shrieked as he landed flat on his back as Sirius flipped them and then moaned loudly when sharp canines punctured the skin at the juncture of his neck and jaw, just shy of where the mating mark should be. A warm tongue lapped over the wound and then Sirius pulled back, supported on 2 strong arms and looked down at him with stormy eyes. There was a smear of blood on his top lip and Remus's omega preened at the possessive gesture. I'm presuming you told him you weren't interested. Remus ignored him and gave a nonchalant shrug. I wonder if he still sees Kingsley. He turned his head to the side and spread a hand as if examining his nails. It would be nice to see both of them at the same time. Sirius growled again, but this time the pull was stronger and Remus found his gaze snapping back to Sirius involuntarily. He huffed irritably. I don't like it when you do that. And I don't like when my omega doesn't answer a direct question. Me. Remus muttered high-pitched, and a smug smile slid onto his lips as Sirius's eyes momentarily flashed gold. Remus schooled his expression and looked back up, making his own eyes wide and as innocent as possible. His cock was already swelling against Sirius's thigh and he knew Sirius would be able to smell the arousal in the blood that was rushing through his veins as his heart rate sped up. Without breaking eye contact, Sirius lifted one arm. Remus chided his omega for swooning a little at the blatant show of strength as Sirius supported himself effortlessly on the other, and threaded his fingers in Remus's hair and pulled, exposing his neck. I think it would be nice. Remus struggled to make his voice sound even. To catch up. I thought I could even go back to his place. You know, for old time's sake. He snapped his mouth shut as Sirius pushed 2 fingers into his scent gland, rendering him speechless. Don't you dare. He snarled, and Remus's eyes rolled as he felt Sirius's magic wash through him. You are mine. He punctuated his words with a thrust of his hips, and Remus felt the knot inside him push hard against his prostate, making him cry out. You understand me? He removed his hand, slamming it back down on the bed, the muscles in his upper arm bulging. Whatever, Remus breathed out, closing his eyes and tipping his head back. Sirius gave a dark chuckle, and pushed his hips forward, and Remus's whole body spasmed at the pleasure that rippled through him. Ah! Alpha, please. That's better. Sirius stroked some of his hair away from his face. I'll give you what you want, love. It's never enough for you, is it? Had to rile your alpha up, didn't want that knot getting soft. Remus shook his head quickly. That's what I thought. Sirius reached a hand down to feel where they were joined. You're so stretched open, taking all of me. He slowly ran his fingers round Remus's stretched rim, shivering as his fingers brushed his swollen cock and collecting up the slick that had escaped. You're such a slut for my knot, aren't you, baby? You can't get enough of it. He slowly pushed in 2 fingers alongside his cock, and Remus almost screamed. You need it all the time. You just want to be full, don't you? Yes, Alpha. Remus's words were slurred, and Sirius felt another wash of slick coat him. He withdrew his fingers, and then Remus felt the twist of Sirius's wrist and then an overwhelming pressure as he pushed in with 4. You think you can take it all, baby? Remus tried to answer, rutting his cock on Sirius's stomach as Sirius started mouthing at the place their mating mark should be. I think you can, you know. You love it so much. Being so full of me. Tied together. Forever, Remus mumbled nonsensically and then choked, head lolling violently to the side as he felt Sirius curling his fingers into a fist. Forever what, baby? Remus could feel himself opening up, could feel the slick dripping onto the sheet below him. His body felt overheated and his brain was slipping, white prickling into his eyes. Tied forever, he tried to say. Please, Sirius. Please. Don't worry, baby. Sirius's voice sounded thick, and Remus felt the warmth of his saliva spreading over his lips. He opened his mouth wide. I've got you. And a tongue pressed against his own, swirling gently. Remus could only lie just there, too overwhelmed, as Sirius pulled his hand back and then pressed back in with his whole fist. The pressure was almost too much, and a sob escaped him. You're doing so good, Remus, Sirius praised. So good. I'm going to give you exactly what you need, okay? He grunted as he twisted his wrist, inching it inside. We're nearly there, baby. Sirius sounded awestruck. You've nearly taken it all. Such a clever Omega for me. Taking it so well. Clever Omega, Remus babbled stupidly as he felt himself slipping away. Please. I need it. Please, Sirius, the bite. I need it. I can't, baby, you know I can't, Sirius said heavily. Not when you're like this. Remus began to cry. Huge sobs racking through his body. No, Remus. Sirius tried to soothe, but Remus just cried harder, too overwhelmed by the sensations. Okay, baby. Okay. And Remus quietened as Sirius started to nose at his neck, teeth nipping at the skin before he started to suck. More, please, Sirius. Sirius sucked harder, thrusting his fist faster and faster, and then he bit down, hard. Remus screamed as he came, shooting long, white ropes over his stomach, and he could feel the warmth flooding his belly as Sirius started to come inside him, his fist pushing against his knot which was throbbing against Remus's prostate. Remus's vision went black. Remus came to expecting to feel the usual fingers running through his hair and Sirius's voice, soft and loving, whispering into his ear. Instead he was greeted with silence, although he could tell from the way Sirius was breathing against his neck that he was awake. He was also anticipating feeling the newly formed bond running around his head, but that wasn't there either. "What's wrong?" Remus's voice was thick and slow. "It's morning." Sirius sounded strained. "Yeah, and? What's wrong?" Remus tried to stretch out his aching body and yelped. "That," Sirius said, his hands flying to Remus's hip to stop him from moving further. "What? Why hasn't it gone down?" What Remus had thought to just be a visceral ache from being fucked stupid for the past 48 hours was actually Sirius's knot, still pressed deep inside. He felt obscenely stretched, his belly swollen slightly. He slid a tentative hand between their bodies, stroking over the bulge, and Sirius groaned, his own hand coming to rest on top of Remus's. "No. No getting any ideas. I swear, Black, that contraceptive draft better have been bloody strong, because if you've knocked me up." Sirius fell silent, but Remus felt the familiar warmth wash through him. "Have you been coming all night?" "Yeah," Sirius said hoarsely, thrusting his hips minutely, and Remus felt arousal pooling in his stomach despite himself. "I woke up around 2 and we were still tied, but I figured that was because that last time was a bit intense. You know what I'm like when I get possessive." He paused to bite down on Remus's shoulder. "But then I woke again at 5, then 6, and still," he punctuated his words with a grind of his hips. "Fuck. Is it your rut?" Remus asked, taking a deep breath as his cock twitched against his stomach. "No," Sirius closed his eyes. "I'm just really fucking horny. Are you okay?" Remus blinked and carefully tried to shift forward for a kiss as he gave his cock a squeeze. Sirius hissed. "Careful, baby," he warned. "I don't want to hurt you." Remus pressed his forehead to Sirius's chest instead. "Why can't I feel anything?" he asked a few minutes later. "What do you mean?" "The bite. I don't feel any different. I thought that maybe I'd be able to feel the bond forming or something." "Oh baby," Sirius kissed the top of his head, sliding a hand over his narrow waist and caressing the soft skin. "I didn't. But I thought," Remus reached up to run his fingers over his scent gland. "No mark." He felt further up and winced as his fingers brushed over what was obviously a considerable bruise. "Oh. I know you wanted it, darling," Sirius sounded regretful. "But I couldn't. Not when I couldn't be 100% sure it wasn't your heat talking." "Right," Remus said in a small voice, disappointment seeping through him, even though he knew Sirius was right. "I will." Sirius kissed his head again. "Soon. I promise." "I just don't get why you won't," Remus said quietly. "You know I want to." "It's not that I won't," Sirius said earnestly. "I want it too, but I don't know. Something's holding me back. It's forever. And I know I want you forever, but I don't want it to be a spur-of-the-moment thing. I want to make it special. I want us to have really thought about it and to have chosen a time and a place, and..." He trailed off. "Yeah." They lay in silence for a moment as Remus willed the tears away and Sirius shushed him gently. "You're okay, Remus. You're okay. I love you so much." I know. "Sorry," Remus took a deep breath. "I love you too. It's the heat settling." "You think it's over?" "Yeah. I think so." He looked down at their tied bodies. "How long do you think it's going to last?" "No idea," Sirius bent to rub his cheek against Remus's, starting to kiss up his neck. "God, but you still smell so good." "Oh no you don't." Remus tried but failed to wriggle back. "Me smelling good is what got us into this position in the first place." "Come on baby," Sirius slipped his hand lower to rub over Remus's cock. Already so hard for me, hey." "It's first thing in the morning and I'm still on your knot," Remus tried to say levelly, although the hitch in his voice betrayed him as his hips chased the pressure of Sirius's hand. What do you expect? Please, baby. Sirius leant and caught Remus's earlobe between his teeth and tugged, causing Remus to let out a high-pitched noise. For Alpha. I hate you. Remus said, pawing at Sirius's hand and bringing it back towards his cock. He tilted his head up so Sirius could lick into his mouth and gave a satisfied happy whimper as the hand around his cock began to stroke faster. Such a good omega for me, Sirius praised, unable to do anything bar grind against Remus's arse, his not an insistent press against Remus's already oversensitive walls. Yeah, yes. Remus nodded, already feeling the familiar warmth spreading through him, making him bare his neck. Good boy, Sirius rumbled lowly, pressing slow kisses to the exposed skin, licking over his scent gland. Come on, come for me. Remus's body spasmed uncontrollably, and as Sirius lapped at the gland he obeyed, spilling over Sirius's fist, his arse clenching around the swollen knot. So perfect. Sirius brought the dripping fingers up to Remus's mouth and Remus opened his mouth obediently, making Sirius groan, his other hand curling around Remus's hip, and he pressed harder against him before coming with a punched-out grunt. Oh my God, Remus breathed as Sirius continued to come. I feel so full. Sirius nuzzled into Remus's neck. You look so good like this. All fucked out on my knot. Remus sighed happily, curling his body as best he could into Sirius's, sated and warm. Go back to sleep, baby, Sirius whispered, nosing along the shell of his ear. Maybe we just needed one more. It'll go down now. It didn't. Fuck. Remus started awake a couple of hours later and immediately knew what was wrong. Unlike before, he now felt uncomfortably full and his arse was sore. It's not gone down, he said, panic flooding his voice. Padfoot, what the fuck's wrong? I don't know. Sirius was fingering around where they were joined, but rather than sparking arousal this time, the oversensitivity made Remus wince. Stop it. He shifted uncomfortably and Sirius's fingers fell away. Sorry, baby. I'm sorry, he tried to soothe, but Remus didn't miss that note of panic in his own voice. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Shit. It's been almost 12 hours. I'm hungry, Remus whined, his stomach rumbling unpleasantly. I want it to go away. I'm trying, sweetheart. Christ, this is a fucking nightmare. I've got a fucking meeting today. Well. Remus's omega bristled. I'm sorry that I'm causing you such an inconvenience. Sirius ran a frustrated hand through his hair, wincing as it got caught in the tangle. That's not what I meant, and you know it. You were the one who just said you wanted it gone. Remus scowled. I'm hungry, he huffed again. I know, Remus. Sirius took a deep breath in an attempt to bleed the alpha tone from his voice. I'm just trying to think of a way to sort this out. Well, think quicker. Ah. Remus yelped as Sirius hauled them both upright without warning. He grasped underneath Remus's thighs, trying to settle him more comfortably in his lap, and Remus begrudgingly wrapped his legs around Sirius's waist, trying to ignore the press of the still very swollen knot inside him. You okay? Sirius checked and Remus just nodded, leaning heavily against Sirius's chest. Right. Sirius ran a hand down his back, stopping to rub small circles just above his arse. I'm going to help you try something, okay? Okay, Remus mumbled. The oversensitivity was once again blurring into something more pleasurable, which he desperately tried to temper. Unlink your legs for me. Remus did as he was asked, and Sirius gripped his left calf and slowly began pushing his leg up. He let out a long breath through his nose as he seemed to sink even further onto the knot. How you're so fucking flexible, I don't know, Sirius muttered, his eyes gone dark as he hooked Remus's leg over his shoulder and then started on the other. Omega hormones, Remus murmured, cock visibly twitching, the muscles of his arse clenching round Sirius's knot. Stay with me baby. Sirius's grip tightened and he waited a moment for Remus to relax before bringing his right leg to rest over his other shoulder. You feel okay? Remus hummed a yes, closing his eyes. Straighten your legs for me. Good boy, well done. I'm going to try and turn you now, okay? You're definitely wet enough that I should be able to. I'm thinking maybe it'll sort of unlock us and I'll start to go down. Okay. Remus felt large palms on his sides as Sirius slowly started to turn his body. I feel like a rotisserie chicken, he grumbled, the sensation of Sirius's cock inside him superseded by how much of an idiot he felt. When Sirius didn't answer, he opened his eyes to find Sirius looking at him seemingly mesmerized, pupils blown wide. You look fucking gorgeous. Remus felt the knot throb. When this one's gone down I want to fuck you like this. When this one's gone down you're staying the fuck away from me. Remus told him and Sirius continued to carefully twist his body. Stop. I feel like you're trying to skewer me on a kebab. We both know it's physically impossible for me to stay away from you. Sirius leaned forward to bump their noses together. Sorry. I thought that might do something. He stilled his hands. Hi. Hi, Remus answered, a reluctant smile spreading over his face. I can't believe you've locked us together. Hey. Sirius sucked Remus's bottom lip into his mouth. I can't be entirely to blame here. It's your knot. Yes baby. But who was the one who needed it? Yes. Well. Remus pouted, a pretty pink flush spreading across his face, making Sirius shift his hips and Remus keen slightly. No, stop it. Remus whined and Sirius chuckled. Sorry. You're just so fucking lovely. Shall we get your legs down? Remus just looked at him with a coy smile and then slowly spread his legs apart, stretching them outwards. Fuck me, Sirius choked as Remus slowly started to lean back, resting his hands on Sirius's shoulders. You're sending me very mixed signals here babe. Good. Remus said as he tucked his ankles into the small of Sirius's back and sat back up, loosely wrapping his arms around Sirius's neck. Menace. Sirius dropped a quick kiss onto his cheek. I honestly don't know what to do now. Should I get James or someone over to see if they know? What? No. Remus squeaked, looking at Sirius in disbelief. It was just an idea. I just thought. No one is coming over. Remus tried to look at Sirius as sternly as possible. Although he wasn't very successful if the twitch of Sirius's mouth was anything to go by. Okay baby, Sirius said in his best calming alpha voice. Whatever you say. Shut up. Remus pouted. I mean it. I know. Sirius kissed him again. And we both know that really it's you who's in charge here. Too right. Remus stuck his neck out and looked back at Sirius. Well, get on with it then. You're going to have to just carry me to go and get breakfast. They managed to get halfway towards the kitchen. I'm slipping. No you're not, stop fussing. I don't know why you're so blasé about it. It's going to be your dick that snaps off when I fall, not mine. Sirius paused at that. Remus huffed a grumpy breath. Oh now he stops. Sirius looked at him and Remus glowered back until slowly, Sirius pushed his hips forward slightly. No, Sirius, stop. Sirius raised his brow and Remus flushed, the blush creeping down his neck. Alright there Shut up, Remus mumbled. Get me some breakfast. I'm trying. Sirius began walking again, hands gripped tightly underneath Remus's thighs. They reached the kitchen and Sirius managed to fumble through flicking the kettle on and gathering supplies to make coffee. I want pancakes. Sirius stopped midway through retrieving the milk from the fridge to look at Remus. Remus. I love you, but there is no way I'm making you pancakes like this. He jiggled Remus's arse with his free hand to hammer the point. But you always make me pancakes after my heat, Remus whinged. I'm starving. I feel all weak and omega-e. Omega-e, Sirius's look was deadpan. Omega-e, Remus said resolute. I shall probably faint without pancakes. Well, you're in safe hands then, Sirius said, gesturing to their position. Remus stuck his bottom lip out. Cute. Sirius boinged the plush skin. But still no. I'll do us some toast and I'll put golden syrup on it. Not the same, Remus's brow was still pitched and Sirius gave a frustrated but fond huff. I know it's not. But the last thing I want to do is splatter batter all over your lovely arse. Remus wrinkled his nose. That, he said, is the most disgusting thing you've ever said. Sirius made the toast without too much bother, buttering it thickly and then pouring a liberal amount of syrup on Remus's piece. They sat at the kitchen table trading bits of toast and sips of tea until their hands and lips were sticky. Sirius insisted that Remus take a couple of painkillers, which he swallowed down without fuss, earning himself a kiss before snuggling his head back into Sirius's chest. My legs are beginning to feel crampy, he gingerly stretched out his calf and flinched a little. Ow. Sirius reached forward and rubbed the muscle in firm circles, eliciting a happy hum from Remus. That's nice. Do the other two? Sirius obliged, pointedly ignoring the small, exhaled noises of pleasure that Remus was making. His knot was still as swollen as ever, showing no signs of going down, and Sirius was now beginning to worry that he was going to inflict some sort of internal damage to Remus's insides. Yes, an Omega's biology meant that their bodies were designed to take a knot, but he was sure not for this long and this much. It also didn't help that what had been a constant low simmer of arousal since he'd been forced to watch Remus lick syrup off his fingers was now beginning to boil over. Padfoot? Sirius mentally shook away the thought and looked down. Remus was looking up at him, head tipped to one side. Sorry, baby. What did you say? I said if you keep doing that we're going to have to go for another round. Remus sounded apologetic but didn't look it, smiling up at Sirius with the face of a fallen angel. What? Shit. He pulled his hand away from Remus's arse, where he'd been dragging his fingers around Remus's swollen rim unconsciously. Ugh, sorry love. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't stop thinking about sex. That's because I'm irresistible, Remus replied cheekily, giving a little bounce on Sirius's lap. Ah! Sirius grabbed at Remus's waist to stop him. You were the one who wanted me to stop earlier. Yeah, but that's because I was sore. Those pills have kicked in and now I want you. Remus. Sirius tried to sound as stern as possible without going full alpha. No. We're trying to get my knot to go down, and you riding me at the kitchen table is definitely not going in that direction. Even as he said it, he felt his cock throb inside Remus and knew Remus must have felt it too if the answering clench of his arse was anything to go by. Ugh, I suppose. Remus slumped forward, leaning his full weight onto Sirius's chest. Do you think it's gone down at all? I don't think so. Sirius ran a hand down Remus's spine. I'm glad you're not hurting though. Remus shrugged without looking up. I didn't really mind. You know I like it. What are we going to do if it hasn't gone down by lunch? I don't know, Sirius admitted. I know you don't want to hear this, but if we get to that point we are going to have to think about getting someone over. I really can't miss this meeting with Prongs this afternoon. Remus didn't reply, but Sirius felt him nod. Come on. Sirius carefully stood up, adjusting Remus so he was tucked safely against him. He felt a wash of possessiveness run through him at just the idea of someone else, some other alpha, seeing Remus like this. You're doing it again. Remus reached an arm down and grasped Sirius's wrist lightly. Sirius caught the look on Remus's face. He was flushed pink and Sirius could feel his cock leaking against his stomach, neither helping Sirius's resolve. His alpha instinct was screaming at him, telling him that his omega needed him, that he was leaving his omega unsatisfied and hurting. He had to remind himself that Remus's heat was finished and that of course Remus was hard, he was tied to his alpha, basic biology. It didn't stop him bending his head to scent Remus though, making Remus shudder and Sirius groan. It almost hurt to pull away, that and the noise of distress Remus made. He took a deep breath in through his nose and wrapped his arms around Remus's shoulders, hugging him tight as he breathed it out slowly. "Sorry," he said again. "Let's go and get you cleaned up and then we'll see where we're at." They shuffled their way towards their ensuite, Remus sucking gently on Sirius's collarbone, not hard enough to leave a mark. "You smell all alpha," Remus said as they reached the bathroom. He sniffed Sirius's neck. "And like slick." Funny that, Sirius lifted Remus's hips a fraction so he was perched on the countertop, giving Sirius a break from supporting the weight of him. "It's almost as though I've had my head buried in an omega's arse for the past 2 days." "Thank you for looking after me," Remus said quietly. "I know practically that this is a total nightmare but I love being tied to you. You make me feel safe." "Baby," Sirius groaned. "You can't just say things like that." He chased Remus's mouth for what he intends to be a light kiss but quickly becomes heated as Remus opens his mouth for him, letting Sirius lick in with his tongue. They pull away, both breathless and Sirius can't help the rock of his hips as Remus reached down to palm over his still leaking cock. "Fuck. Baby, I don't want to hurt you but oh God. I can smell how close you are, how much you want me. Remus, it's driving me insane." "Alpha," Remus whimpered, pawing at Sirius's hand, trying desperately to bring it down towards his cock. "Alpha, please." "Okay, baby. It's okay. I'm here. One last time, okay? Just one more. I don't want to hurt you. I can't hurt you," and he broke off with a gasp as he felt Remus clench around him. "Fuck," he spat through gritted teeth. "Feels so good, love. You feel so good around my knot. You're perfect for me, you know that. Please." Remus was leaning back as far as he was able, his back arched as he stripped his cock hard and fast. The last of Sirius's resolve shattered. "Mine." He snarled, pitching them both forward to latch his teeth into Remus's jaw, swiping Remus's hand out the way and snapping his hips forward and then back, feeling his knot catching on Remus's rim. "Yes." Remus cried out. "Yours. Harder, please. You're going to come just like this. Just on my knot." He reached a hand between their sweat-slick bodies and pinched one of Remus's nipples, his alpha reveling in the noise Remus made in response. He continued to twist and tug at one and then the other nipple as he continued to thrust his hips hard, grinding up into Remus's, while pulling him down onto his knot. The position was awkward and the rhythm dirty. Remus dug his fingertips into Sirius's shoulders, head thrown back, looking entirely fucked out. Sirius started to circle his hips, pressing in as hard as he was able, and Remus let out a high-pitched distorted whine, and then he was coming, hot and thick, pulsing over both their stomachs. Sirius helped him through with sweet words and soft touches. He couldn't stop his hands from running up and down his sides, across his chest, through the mess dripping between them. He hauled Remus forward, helping him settle his head underneath Sirius's chin, his breathing ragged and uneven. His cock was so hard it hurt, but now his omega was sated, the primal urge to take and mark had abated slightly. Slowly Remus came round, looking deliciously fucked out. He shifted to smile dopily up at Sirius. "Hello you." Sirius gathered him up and steered them both towards the shower cubicle. "Better now?" "'Twas nice." Remus mumbled, nosing around Sirius's scent gland. "You didn't come?" "No." Sirius pressed him up against the wall, supporting his weight fully while he turned on the water. I enjoyed watching you though. You're gorgeous. Good. I'm filthy now. You were filthy before, Sirius pointed out, stepping them back under the hot spray, sliding one hand down Remus's back to support his hip. Let's get you cleaned up, He reached for the shower gel and soaked up a flannel, running it gently between their bodies, 2 days' worth of sweat and cum melting away with the scent of rosemary. He moved up to wash over Remus's back and then down, over his stretched open arse. They both hissed at the contact but neither initiated anything further. They stood under the water for a while, Sirius swaying them tenderly from side to side, singing softly until Remus spoke. Sirius? Yes, baby. I really need to pee. Sirius stopped mid-sway. Oh. Yeah, Remus whispered. I needed to go before, but then I got hard and it sort of settled, but now, he trailed off, sounding embarrassed. Sorry. Oh baby, no. Sirius lifted his chin back up. Don't be sorry. Let me work this out a minute. He tried twisting Remus's upper body round without much luck and Remus began to whimper, clutching at Sirius's shoulder. Pad foot. Hush, hush. Sirius attempted to soothe him. It's okay. He felt Remus clench around him, his hand flying to his semi-hard cock and squeezing the tip. Sirius realized with a jolt of arousal that the bulge just below his belly button was more obvious now. Let go baby. It's okay. We're in the shower and it's just me and I love you. I can't. Remus whined. Remus, sweetheart. I had my fist up your arse less than 12 hours ago. A little bit of piss is nothing in comparison. Remus buried his face in Sirius's chest. I can't hold it. Then don't. Sirius stroked his cheek once and then let his hand drift down to rest on Remus's extended bladder. Let me help you. He applied a gentle pressure and Remus gasped as a trickle of piss escaped him, hot on Sirius's stomach. Fuck, Sirius breathed as the smell reached him. Hot and acrid and Remus. His cock throbbed at the thought of being completely covered in his Omega's scent and as the shower washed the smell away Sirius found himself craving more. I'm sorry, Remus started as Sirius shifted, trying to bring himself back under control. Wait, he paused, looking down at Sirius's hand pressed against his stomach. Sirius felt his cock give another painful throb. Oh my god, this is turning you on, isn't it? Sirius groaned and thrust his hips and Remus jerked as piss started to dribble from his cock. Fuck, yes. Sirius's voice was almost all alpha now and Remus shuddered. Want to smell like you. Want it all over me. Remus let out another high whine as Sirius continued to rut his hips. Come on baby, let go. I know you want to. It's going to feel so good. Sirius wrapped his hand around Remus's cock and began pumping his hand. Ah! Remus's cock was leaking steadily now, the hot liquid splashing onto their bodies. Sirius grunted loudly, rutting his hips fiercely and aimed Remus's cock up towards his chest. Baby, fuck, more. And Remus let go, piss streaming out his cock and splashing up Sirius's body. Sirius let out a guttural sound, slamming his hips upwards as the sensation of being completely wrapped up in Remus's scent overwhelmed him. He felt Remus tighten almost painfully around his knot which spurred him on further. I need just, Sirius mouthed blindly at Remus's neck, finding the gland and sucking harshly. Remus gave a sharp cry. Don't stop, he babbled, starting to fuck himself as best he could on Sirius's knot. Oh god, I think I'm going to come again. Sirius looked down. Piss was still gushing out of his cock, pooling at his feet. He watched as Remus shook in his arms and then cupped a hand under his cock. Remus looked up at him, his head lolled back and he opened his mouth, letting Sirius smear the liquid onto his lips. Kiss me, Remus breathed and Sirius lurched forward, swiping his tongue over Remus's mouth, tasting Remus there and his world imploded. He felt his knot swell and Remus screamed, his eyes rolling back, and then he was coming to, the mixture of cum and piss seeping into the hot steam of the shower. "Fuck!" Sirius roared, as he came, pumping his load into Remus, who had gone limp in his arms, unable to stop the drive of his hips as he kept coming and coming and coming. He rode out his orgasm and then slid to the floor, his heart beating painfully in his chest as his cock continued to pulse. "Fuck!" Arms up. Remus obeyed a little dopily, shrugging on the jumper Sirius pulled over his head. He bared his neck, looking at Sirius's imploringly, who laughed and bent to rub his face and neck against the collar of the jumper, scenting the fabric. "Yay!" Remus gave a happy little wiggle and Sirius just about melted. "Thank you." Sirius pulled on his own sweater, black and tight, smoothing it over his torso. "How you are so cute when 10 minutes ago you looked like absolute sin." "Magic." Remus pulled the sleeves down over his hands. "I'm so tired." "You can nap while I work." Sirius gave Remus's waist a quick squeeze and shuffled them towards the edge of the bed. "Do you want me to try and put socks on you?" Remus shook his head, pitching forward to rest on Sirius's shoulder. "No, it's okay." "What time is James coming?" Sirius looked up at the clock on the bedside table as he scrubbed a towel through his hair. "In about an hour and a half." "Ugh. I know." Sirius carted his fingers through Remus's hair. "He won't be here too long. I promise. Although." "Yeah, I know." Remus sighed. "If it hasn't gone down by this evening you can ask him." "Thank you." Sirius reached for his hand and tangled their fingers together. "Are you ready for me to get up?" "As I'll ever be," Remus said, looping his arms and legs around Sirius's neck and waist. He closed his eyes as Sirius hauled them up and couldn't help the tiny moan that escaped him. "It still feels so good." "Tell me about it." Sirius's voice sounded strained as he walked down the landing and opened the door to his office and quickly made his way towards his desk, sitting down heavily on the chair. They got Remus arranged comfortably with practiced movements, his legs twined around Sirius's calves, and Sirius opened his laptop. Remus giggled at the absurdity of the situation. Sitting half naked, tied to his boyfriend who was now scrolling through his emails. "What's so funny?" "Nothing," Remus nestled more closely into Sirius. "Just this whole thing. Can I have a nap?" "Course you can, baby." He broke off with a snort and Remus cocked his head to the side. "What?" "Well," Sirius guided Remus's head back to rest underneath his shoulder. "I was going to say, I'll be here when you wake up." "Obviously." "Obviously," Remus repeated on a yawn. "Love you, Padfoot." "I love you too, baby. Sweet dreams." Sirius managed to get through a fair amount of paperwork over the next hour or so. He also successfully navigated 2 phone calls and a brief online meeting with Remus sleeping soundly, snuggled safely into his chest, blaming his residual heat for the close proximity. He was midway through an initial draft of a contract when he sensed Remus's breathing pattern change, the long slow breaths breaking apart as Remus let out a little whimper. "Fuck," Sirius muttered under his breath, closing his laptop and tightening his arms slung around Remus's waist. He could feel Remus swelling against his abdomen, a crease forming between his brows as he slept. He was moving his hips. Barely their movements, but Sirius could feel them all the same, stimulating his cock still swollen and knotted inside. "Remus, baby," Sirius whispered. He only got a short whine in return as Remus's eyes fluttered open and he looked up at Sirius, eyes dark and obviously turned on. "Good dream, Sirius smoothed the hair off Remus's forehead and let his hand drop lower, brushing over the plane of his hip bone, and slowly pushed Remus against him. Remus's breath hitched and Sirius could feel the hard line of Remus's cock against him, fully hard. "More," Remus croaked, mouthing at Sirius, and Sirius grasped him more firmly, splaying his fingers, letting them creep up the hem of his jumper and helping Remus move. "There we go, sweetheart," Sirius praised him. "Looking so pretty like this. All soft and pliant and needing your alpha. What were you dreaming about, baby?" "You," Remus panted, digging his fingers into Sirius's upper arm. "Your smell, your knot, your bite." Sirius tangled his hand in Remus's hair and gently pulled, tipping Remus's face towards his own. "Soon, love. I promise." Yeah, okay," Remus huffed, taking his hand from Sirius's arm and reaching down, fingers scrabbling at Sirius's bare thigh, trying to get him to move. Sirius sat up a little with a low chuckle, allowing Remus to slide his hand underneath and then fucked up hard. "Ah!" Remus gasped. "More!" Sirius groaned as the pressure on his knot increased and he started to thrust up fast and hard. The chair beneath them creaked and Remus slumped against him, mewling as Sirius pushed down on his feet to aid his thrusts, pounding into him as best he could with his knot tight and throbbing. There was a knock on the door. "Shit!" Sirius curled his body around Remus's instinctively as he stilled and Remus let out a wail at the sudden lack of stimulation. Another knock. "No," Remus said desperately. "Make them go away." "I can't, baby," Sirius hauled Remus up as he tried to regulate his breaths. "It's James. We really need to get this done, but I promise I won't be long." He ran his fingers through his hair and then did the same to Remus's and adjusted their position on the seat, making sure their lower bodies were definitely hidden behind the desk. He kissed Remus quickly, shushing him when he tried to chase his mouth. "You're fine, you're okay. Just don't make any sudden movements and act like your usual cute self and he'll be none the wiser." "This is a terrible idea," Remus whined, already rocking his hips. "I'm so horny. I was so close." "You can be horny afterwards, baby, but for now I need you to behave." Sirius let a little dash of alpha into his tone and Remus immediately stopped moving, although Sirius felt a nip of teeth for his troubles. "Fine," he said grumpily. "Good boy," Sirius praised and then craned his neck over his shoulder and shouted. "Come on in, prongs." They heard the clink of keys in the front door and then, not 2 seconds later, James burst into the room. "Hi, mate," he said brightly, stomping over towards the desk and then stopped as he noticed Remus. "Oh no. What's wrong with Mooney?" "Just one of those days," Sirius said smoothly, giving Remus a fond look. "Just needs cuddles." Remus just made a disgruntled noise into Sirius's jumper. James looked at Sirius for a split second and then very unsubtly scented the air. He wrinkled his nose, face scrunched. "Prongs. It's not his heat, right?" James interrupted him. "Because I thought you said that was finished." "Nah," Sirius gestured for James to sit down. "I told you. It's just being Re. You know what he's like after." "Right," James said slowly, not looking convinced. He threw Remus and then Sirius a suspicious look before sitting down. "Well, if you're sure. We ready?" "Yes, I reckon." Sirius turned the large desktop screen round so they could both see. "I was thinking that first off we should reinvest income generated by the beneficiaries back into the fund." "No, I understand the point you're trying to make, Padfoot. I'm just saying that if we do present this in court, the evidence is of such little value that I think," he broke off as Remus let out a soft moan. He looked at Sirius, who tried his best to keep his face neutral. "You alright, Rem?" Remus just nodded into Sirius's chest, without looking up. James looked at Sirius questioningly, his eyebrows raised slightly. "Yeah," Sirius paused to clear his throat as he felt Remus clench round him again. "Yes. He's fine. He's just Sirius clamped his mouth shut as the pressure on his knot increased, making his cock throb almost painfully. His hands flew to Remus's sides, knuckles clouding white as he gripped him firmly. Okay, James pushed his chair back from the desk. You're both being weird. Is there something I should know? No. Sirius's voice came as a punched-out breath as the need to thrust up overwhelmed him and he tried to play the movement off as readjusting his position in his chair. I promise everything's good, oh fuck. He gave what he hoped was a casual laugh and started swaying from side to side, hoping to disguise Remus's increasingly obvious rocking. Sorry, he bit me. Oh my god. Sirius's heart skipped a beat at the slow smile spreading across James's face as his cock gave another pulse and Remus outright keened. You're pregnant, aren't you? No. Sirius said and then groaned. Remus had grabbed his hand and guided it between their bodies towards his cock. Sirius could feel it hard and leaking, but what made the arousal smoldering in his lower belly spark was his hand brushing over the now sizable bulge in Remus's lower stomach. Oh god, absolutely not. He flattened his hand over the bump and pressed. Remus cried out, the noise barely stifled and Sirius couldn't help but drive upwards, letting out a feral growl as he felt his cock push against Remus's walls, outline obvious from outside his body. What the fuck? James started, beginning to look slightly concerned. Are you guys okay? Yes, all good. Sirius grit out, slamming a hand down onto the desk and biting the inside of his cheek hard. But maybe we should just carry on with this tomorrow, yeah? I think you should go. Oh. Yeah. Sure. James got quickly to his feet. Are you sure I can't do anything to help? You both seem a bit, I don't know. Bye, James. Right, yes. Of course. James tripped on his own feet as he hurried to the door. I'll give you a call later, maybe. Yeah, whatever you want. Sirius didn't look at him as he began to scent Remus, wrapping his hand around his cock and quickening the pace as he drove in and out of Remus's arse. He heard the door shut behind him just as Remus let out an obscene, nonsensical noise and came all over Sirius's fist. You're a little shit, Omega. Sirius said, voice dangerously low, not relenting as he pumped Remus's cock even faster. Couldn't help yourself, Just had to come on your alphas, not even though you were told to wait. Felt too good. Remus slurred, eyes rolling back as he lifted his legs to roll the chair away from the desk so he could wrap his legs around Sirius's waist. Couldn't help it. You going to give me another one, baby? You going to make a mess all over us? Make sure everyone knows I'm yours. Yeah, yes. Remus panted, his whole body shuddering. Want to just on your knot though? I need it. Oh good boy, Sirius praised, releasing his cock and instead using the slick of Remus's cum to push 2 fingers into Remus's arse, driving them straight into his prostate alongside his knot. Remus howled and Sirius laughed, stopping the snap of his hips in favor of a slow, dirty grind. Come on Angel, Sirius pulled his fingers free and brought them up to Remus's mouth, sliding them in and petting over his tongue. Come for Alpha. The jerk of Remus's body almost had them toppling from the chair as his cock pulsed, coming dry, his face contorted with a mix of both pleasure and pain as his orgasm ripped through him. Perfect, Sirius groaned. Always so perfect. You make me feel so good, Remus. Alpha, Remus breathed happily and Sirius's hips stuttered as he came with a guttural breath, cock spurting forcefully over and over. He squeezed his eyes shut, waiting for his orgasm to wind down, breathing hard into Remus's open mouth. Fuck, he inhaled deeply and Remus, who had plastered himself onto Sirius's body, gave a little hiccup of agreement. You okay, baby? That was gorgeous. I think I might be dead. Sirius laughed. Agree. I'll get us up in a minute but my legs feel like jelly. He looked down at Remus. His hair was a mess, sweat beading on his temples making the air around him smell sweet and sultry. Both their jumpers were smeared with drying cum. Sirius thought he'd never seen a better sight. The front door banged open with a crash. Remus, who had been fast asleep warm and cozy nuzzled into Sirius, squealed and Sirius tried to stand from the sofa, his knot pulling painfully at Remus's rim. He let out a shout of pain and sat back down as Regulus stormed into the room, Harry perched on his hip. Fucking wankers. He stomped over to them and Sirius grabbed the blanket lying on the arm of the sofa and threw it over himself and Remus. What the fuck, Reg? He asked angrily as Remus gave a little meep of worry and clutched at Sirius harder. Sirius ran his hands in small circles over his shoulders, relaxing just a little as he felt the tension in Remus' lesson. Don't we knock anymore? You lost knocking privileges and you started fucking in front of my husband and triggered an early heat. Ah. Yes. Ah. Regulus glared at his brother while batting Harry's pudgy hand away from his hair. Look, I've got to get back to him before the first wave starts, so here. He held out Harry expectantly. Reggie, about that, Sirius grimaced. We sort of can't take Hazza at the moment. What? Why? We just can't. I'm really sorry. Regulus narrowed his eyes. James was right. There's something wrong, isn't there? Sort of. Sirius's voice pitched up and the end and Remus let out a squeak. For fuck's sake, you two. Regulus ran a frustrated hand through his hair, jiggling Harry who had begun to fuss. Ugh. I suppose I better take him to Mother's then. Probably for the best. Sirius looked apologetically at him. Sorry, Reg. I'll go and pick him up the minute anything changes though, yeah. If what changes? Actually doesn't matter, but don't think you've got away with this. I'm taking Harry, checking on Jamie and then coming back, so you better have a good explanation as to why my son has to go and spend this heat with our ridiculous mother. Right. Sure. Sirius rasped, adjusting the blanket around them. We'll see you in a bit then. Ugh. Regulus threw his free hand in the air and stamped back out the room. He's mad, Remus said, peering up at Sirius. Yup, Sirius slumped back on the sofa. Fuck. My mother is going to terrorize that poor boy. The last time she had him he came back with his ears pierced. I remember. Remus shuddered. Reg lost his shit. I feel bad about prongs. It's not your fault, baby. Remus looked at him. Okay, it's a bit your fault. And mine too. We're going to have to tell him, I think. Yeah, Remus was quiet a moment. Maybe he'll know how to fix it. Christ, Sirius dragged a hand down his face. Come on. Let's see if we have any of that posh coffee to try and subdue him. He shuffled them both to the kitchen where Sirius managed to uncover a half-full bag of the hideously expensive coffee Regulus favored. He set the kettle on to boil and then filled the French press, careful not to splash hot water onto Remus's bare skin. Once the coffee was brewing they went back into the bedroom to get another jumper for each of them, and this time Remus insisted on putting socks on so they'd look more put together. I don't think it's going to make any difference, love. Sirius told him as he fumbled, trying to pull the sock over Remus's heel. Remus wriggled in his lap in an attempt to twist his foot around but was stopped by a firm hand on his lower back, but Remus just laughed and said the look on Reg's face was enough to kill any lingering arousal he may have been harboring. They had just made it back into the living room, Sirius settling them back onto the sofa with Remus's legs straddled over his thighs when the front door opened once more. Still not knocking, I see, Sirius said dryly as Regulus appeared looking frazzled. Shut the fuck up, Regulus scowled. How was Mother? Beside herself with glee, Regulus looked, if possible, even more annoyed. Before I'd even left she was getting him out of his baby grow to put him in some pretentious frilly sailor's outfit so she could take him out and parade him in front of her awful friends. Sirius sniggered, which was a mistake. And because of you, he came over and poked Sirius's cheek hard. I had to beg her not to go round 2 hours to perform some sort of hysterical ritual on James that apparently will manifest a female pregnancy from this heat. It was touch and go. I had to fob her off with the promise that I'd take him some of her absurd herbal remedies that she claimed would make the experience more pleasurable for the both of us. Regulus visibly recoiled. This is why I don't tell her when James's heats are. This is why you two are supposed to have Harry. Yeah. Sirius looked repentant. We're really sorry, Reg. We owe you. I want 5 nights of babysitting. Overnights. Really? Remus's head perked up and he looked at Regulus. Harry can stay for 5 nights. Sirius huffed. That's hardly a punishment, Reg, look how happy that's made him. You're weird, Lupin. Regulus sat down on the sofa next to them. Hey. Sirius pulled Remus closer, stroking his thigh under the blanket. That's not true. Apologize. Regulus rolled his eyes. I'm sorry, Remus. He didn't sound sorry. Anyway, stop stalling. What the fuck's up with you? Sirius paused and Remus stiffened in his arms and Sirius gave him a little squeeze, hoping to impart comfort. Okay. And it's going to sound crazy but, you know how Rem's heat was this past weekend? Yes, Regulus said slowly. Well. To cut a long story short. We're kind of stuck. What do you mean stuck, oh? A look of realization washed over Regulus's face. I see. He tried subtly to shimmy over to the other end of the sofa and Sirius scoffed. It's not going to get you, you know. Yes, I realize that. I'm not an imbecile. Regulus's eyes flickered down to where he now knew they were tied together and back up again. So you've been constantly hard and turned on for almost 24 hours. Yes. And every time you move it riles us both up and we end up fucking. Yes. I see. Regulus clicked his tongue. Well, this is quite the predicament. He was now looking at them with a clinical interest. And nothing like this has ever happened before. No. Interesting. Regulus stood up and faced the pair. And how are you feeling, Remus? Exhausted. And also like my cock might fall off. Sirius snorted and tickled Remus's side, making him writhe. Regulus wrinkled his nose. Charming. He looked back at Sirius. And it's definitely you that's causing the issues. It's not Remus's body. Nope, Sirius shifted with a flinch. Definitely all me. Regulus sat down again. As much as I don't really want to know the ins and outs of what you two get up to during a heat, did anything unusual happen during the final coupling? Just say fuck, Reg. And no, I don't think so. It all got a bit intense, everything's a bit blurry. Regulus rolled his eyes. Typical alpha. Says you. Sirius said indignantly. Some of us pride ourselves on having more self-control, thank you very much. Bit rich coming from the man who knocked his boyfriend up during their first heat together. Remus said, and both Sirius and Regulus looked at him. Regulus glowered. Sirius looked delighted. He tilted Remus's face up. God, you really are perfect, aren't you? He rubbed their noses together and Remus preened happily and then bared his neck, giving Sirius room to lick over his scent gland. I am literally sitting right here, Regulus deadpanned. I know. And if you haven't got anything helpful to say, then I suggest you fuck off before you get the same show James was privy to. Regulus huffed but didn't move. Am I to take it that a mating bite was party to this heat by any chance? Sirius did look up then. What? No, why? Regulus held his hands up in an appeasing gesture. Sorry, I don't mean to overstep, but the way you're acting and the way Remus is responding. He waved a hand at Remus who was beginning to rub against Sirius. I just presumed. Well, you presumed wrong. Remus made a sad sort of noise and Sirius glared at Regulus. Now look what you've done. It's okay, baby, he soothed, holding Remus tighter. Soon. I promise. Ah, Regulus let out a breath of comprehension. I see what's going on. This intense round of, he paused and pursed his lips in distaste. Fucking. How much did you want to mate with him? More than I've ever wanted to do anything in my whole life, Sirius admitted. Regulus just nodded. And I'm guessing there was talk of being together forever and all the rest. Yes. Sirius hesitated, but Remus chimed in, voice a little breathless but coherent all the same. Now you've said it, I do remember saying something like that. Although I think I said I wanted to be tied together forever. I did actually think you had mated me, remember? You bit me and then I passed out. Go big bro, Regulus said drolly and Sirius shot him a wink. Ugh, you cretin. But I do think I know what the problem is. I think you wanted to mate him, Remus wanted you to mate him and you did bite him. You've incited the Vinculumperator. I'm sorry, we've done what? The Vinculumperator, Regulus repeated. It's an ancient bonding ritual, evoked by those who should be mated but aren't. It's ancient magic. You've been spending too much time with Mother, Sirius said warily. This sounds like one of her bat-shit rituals she does on the full moon. You're an idiot, Regulus told him. Vinculumperator literally means, tied together. This is the universe telling you should be mated, but for some reason you don't seem to be getting on with that. I want it to be special. Sirius spluttered indignantly. I don't want it to be just a thing. Remus is too important for it to just happen. It needs to be a big deal. Look. Look how lovely he is. Beneath him Remus purred at the praise. Well, I suggest you get things special pretty quickly because if I'm right, which I know I am, there's only one fix to your naughty little problem. Regulus snapped his jaw a couple of times. Better get biting, brother. He got to his feet and threw them one last, almost fond look before striding over to the doorway. I better go. Want to get some dinner into Jamie beforehand. Okay, Sirius said, seemingly a bit dazed. Thank you. I think. You're most welcome. Regulus turned to leave and then at the last minute turned back with a small, knowing smile. One last thing. One of the, shall we say, side effects, of the Vinculumperator normally arrives 9 months later. If you get my drift. No contraceptive is effective against it. And he turned and walked out the room. I'm sorry, what? Sirius shouted after him, his hand flying to Remus's stomach, and they heard Regulus laugh loudly. Welcome to the club, Daddy. And then the front door slammed shut. Fuck, Sirius tipped his head so he could press their foreheads together and they both looked down at the hand stroking over Remus's belly. I can't believe you've knocked me up, Black. Remus groused, placing his hand over Sirius's. Sirius pulled back, concern painting his face, but he didn't miss the twitch at the corner of Remus's mouth. Fuck. He said again, tipping forward to kiss Remus hard on the mouth. Pregnant, and an unmated Omega-2, Remus gave a put-upon sigh. Whatever will your mother say? Sirius stood up abruptly and it would have sent Remus sprawling onto the floor below if Sirius hadn't locked his arms around his middle. He slid one hand lower to grab a handful of Remus's arse and nipped at the skin of his jaw. Remus rolled his eyes dramatically. Look who's gone classic alpha. He gets his Omega a teensy-weensy bit pregnant and suddenly he. Shut your pretty little mouth, Sirius growled, capturing Remus's lips in a hotter, fiercer kiss. Make me, Remus shot back. And make it special. And he gasped as Sirius sunk his teeth into the side of his neck, with a smile. Finite. Thanks for listening to this text-to-speech podfic composed by Burning Aurora.